Clash Royale has been out for a long time. Game came out at about 2016, and that game was very popular. But now we're increasing over time. We're barely getting more new cards. But now I'm just gonna basically talk about each cards that need an extreme buff into the game. Like they're just extremely horrible. If they give them a slight buff, maybe the game will revive again. So let's jump into the top 5 cards that need a buff in Clash Royale.
The first card we're going to talk about is the Goblin Hut. The Goblin Hut is somewhat not doing very well when it comes to ladder. You don't really see it that much into decks, and more the factor that it's basically doesn't really help you in stopping a push or doing damage. Sure, they do chip damage, and you say, oh, well, Spirit Goblins come out of it. Even when the building gets destroyed, you get 3 Spirit Goblins. It's more the factor that every single spell can do so much damage onto it. For a 5 Elixir card, it's really not worth it. Even getting those other Spirit Goblins to come out, they're super easy to counter. And for 5 Elixir of it, I would prefer to use an Archer Queen for it. It definitely needs a buff. The next card we have on our list is the Goblin Cage. I don't know if it's some sort of trend, but it seems like the Goblin Cage is just like the Goblin Hut. Of a basic factor that almost every spell in the game and everything else can take it out easily. And for how much elixir it costs, I would prefer just to use a Tesla, a cannon, or even an Inferno Tower. It's not a really good building to help stop pushes. Even when breaking the building and the Goblin Brute comes out, he just absolutely gets shredded. I don't know, the only thing I could think of to fix it is probably add more durability onto the prison, or get more HP and damage onto the Goblin Brute. Here we are with another building. The third card that definitely needs a buff is the Elixir Collector. It seems like a trend with these buildings that are easy to counter with spells do need a buff. The main reason, true, Elixir Collector does give you 1 elixir occasionally over time. It's for like a 6 elixir, like almost any spell can do so much damage to it. Arrows do quite extensive damage to it. Fireball does extensive damage to it. Lightning takes it out. Rocket takes it out. And even Zap Spell resets it too. It's just that for a 6 elixir card, I guarantee you barely see the Elixir Collector be used. So I don't know if they can probably add more HP onto it to give it more use for it and last longer, because spending 6 elixir just for it to be destroyed and get no elixir out of it, it's just not really worth it. It definitely needs a buff. In second place is the Skeleton Dragons. Man, I got a lot to say about the Skeleton Dragons, but I'm going to keep this brief. The factor why the Skeleton Dragons I think need a buff is their HP is so low, they barely do squat for damage. So for how much for 4 elixir, why do people just stick with Dragon? Or go up one more and go with E-Dragon? Or even go with Inferno Dragon? What's the point of Skeleton Dragons, to be honest? I honestly don't know. I feel like they definitely need a damage buff. I think their HP could use a little tweak to be added a little bit more, but besides that, Skeleton Dragons are just super weak. They definitely need a buff. And if someone disagrees with that, you could talk to me about it and I can explain. Skeleton Dragons definitely need a buff into the game. And we're on the final card. Number 1 card that definitely needs a buff is Minion Horde. This card's been in the game for so long, I don't know why they haven't buffed him. It feels like they just kind of forgot about this card, honestly. Like, this card has been here for a long time, Supercell. Please buff it. It's a 5 elixir card that basically is taken out with like literally all the spells. And it's such an easy card to counter, and it's such a weak card too. Like, it definitely needs a buff, and it seems like a waste of elixir and a waste of a card idea. Like, come on, it definitely needs a buff. Alright, those are the top 5 cards I have chosen that definitely need a buff in Clash Royale. I am quite interested on what cards you think that do need to be buffed. Comment down those down below, and I'll make sure to check them out. Also, please subscribe and like this video. I worked really hard onto it and looked into the facts. And I hope Supercell sees this too and fixes the issue on these cards to buff them in the future. Thank you for all listening to this video, and I'll see you all in the next video.